Caesar, where have you been?
Oh, hello, Mr. AAVE. I've been meaning to come and see you.
That's okay, Caesar. I've brought my friends to come and talk to you. Right, boys?
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't have the money.
That's okay, Caesar. I take it out of the car you leave in my garage.
Really? That's great.
And I'm such a nice guy. I give you back some of the pieces, okay? Here you go.
Huh?
Hello and welcome to Caesar's Snack Sandwich. Today we're on Ethereum taking a look at AAVE version 2. Now this has been out for a little bit, or it has been announced to be coming out for a little bit, and I've been meaning to do a video on it, but haven't got around to it. So here I am doing it now. Now if we go down through my list here, you will see I have a video here about 4 weeks ago called Lending Platforms, and it explains to you basically what lending platforms are and talks about the 3 major ones on Ethereum at that time. Now, if you want to know more about them and the little details about those, you can watch this video up here. I will be referring to it once in a while when I talk about the new version 2. The main system of version 1 and version 2 are the same. The main idea, there's just some new upgrades and new functionality added to version 2 that I would like to talk about. So let's head over to the Medium page and I can go through it one by one and show you a little bit of what that means and so forth. Okay, so over to the Medium page. So here we are on the Medium page, and you can see this article was released on December 3rd. It's now December 10th, so like I said, maybe a little more than a week ago. Let's go down. This talks a little bit about what is AAVE, and now let's go to what is new. So the first thing we have yield and collateral swap. So what does that mean? I'm not going to read all these things to you. I'll just explain them to you. So basically what it allows you to do is it allows you to swap your collateral. You can also just swap tokens there, but you'd have to kind of stake them first. So let's go into the application and take a look at what I'm talking about. So here's the application. If you go to markets, over here, swap. Now I currently have some USDC staked in here, just a tiny bit for this demo actually. And if I wanted to, I could swap that over to any of the other, applicable tokens that they have in there. Now there is a fee of 0.9%, which is more than Uniswap, so I wouldn't recommend you doing this all the time, but the main reason what they're talking about, the main reason why they want this here, say I were to have supplied Uni, and I had like maybe, $1,000 worth of Uni supplied here as collateral, and I had borrowed something else like, maybe DAI or something, right? And I had borrowed something against this Uni, and then the Uni is slowly going down in value, and I can see it's going to go down. Like maybe I'm predicting that it's going to go down in value even further than what it is right now. So what I could do is I could swap my collateral over to something else that's more stable, like a stable coin that's I don't expect to go down, or even something that's going to go up. So then it's going to help me to avoid being liquidated. Now once again, if you don't understand what I'm talking about, you should probably watch that first video first. Okay, so it's a way of protecting yourself from getting liquidated without having to add more tokens to it. However, you're going to lose exposure to this actual asset. If that's something you don't want to do, then you're going to have to go with the traditional way of either repaying some of your debt or adding more deposit to your account. Okay, so that's pretty much that first part here. Let's go down. Flash loans have been upgraded. Now this section here is a little bit vague about what it means, and I assume that this paragraph is actually supposed to be a heading for the following paragraphs down here. So let's just skip down. So repayment of collateral. So what this means here is before, if you wanted to use your collateral to repay some of your debt, then you would have to withdraw the collateral, take it to Uniswap or some other swapping place, swap it for the debt, kind of whatever you had in debt, and then pay that back. So it'd take you about 4 transactions. So let's go over to the user interface to see what we're talking about. Okay, now unfortunately I don't have any debt to repay, and I'm not going to walk you through it, but I can show you with this. Let's say I had supplied Uni again in here, and I had borrowed ETH against the ETH, or against the Uni. So I owe some ETH back, and I'm like, I don't want to pay my ETH back. I don't really want this Uni. So what I would have to do is I'd have to withdraw some of the Uni from here, take it to Uniswap, switch it for ETH, come back here and repay the ETH. Now, let's go to dashboard. If I've had some debts in here, something that I've borrowed, it would show up here. And then if I borrowed it, I could then use my actual USDC to directly pay off the debt. Whatever this asset is, it doesn't have to be USDC, it could be ETH. So I could just minus some of this $100 and immediately pay off this debt. So I would take away from the need to withdraw this, convert it, bring it back and pay it over here. Okay, so that's pretty much how that next section works. Okay, flash liquidations. Now liquidations seem bad, right? Like, you know, if you don't know what a liquidation is, it's basically someone's debt is gone bad. You know, their collateral has gone down in value past the point where it's collateralized what they owe, right? So let's say I had $1,000 worth of uni and it went down to, you know, $750 worth of value, but I had borrowed $800 with. So then I would be in debt. So then it would be able to be liquidated because it's past the 80%. It's past the point of liquidation. Now, if you're going to actually borrow this, I would really look closely because every asset itself has its own liquidation threshold and its own liquidation penalty and all these key little features. I'm not going to get into all these right now. I'm just going to talk about the new features. If you want to know more about these, I suggest you to go to the Discord and ask more questions. I don't really cover that in my other video either. And this is a topic for another video. So you can go to the Discord, ask around, or you can go to their docs page and learn more about how these exactly, the math of this actually works. So once again, I don't have any debts in here, so I can't really show you exactly how it looks and what it would look like. But let's keep going, okay? So liquidations, you know, you could get liquidated, but before in the past, the liquidator has to actually hold the money and he has to buy your entire debt off, okay? But now what they're allowing people to do is use flash loans to borrow to pay off the liquidation and then pay back the flash loan. So liquidations happen pretty quickly. They're not done by somebody sitting at their computer waiting for a liquidation event to come. They're almost all done by bots now. Just a computer waiting, looking at the numbers. When the numbers are right, if it'll be profitable, they will liquidate your position. So this is quite risky, okay? So before we move on to the next things, I want to swing over to this article. So here's an article on The Block. Now this happened in November. About $90 million worth of DAI was liquidated from Compound Finance, because you can get into this, you can read this all and find out what it means, what exactly happened, but basically the price of DAI changed quite a bit, and people who had it as a collateral ended up having their positions liquidated. $90 million worth. So it's risky, okay? Make sure you know what you're doing. Don't just borrow money and send it over to some other place hoping, you know, I'm going to get this, I'm going to get rich. You got to make sure you do your homework on this before you do this. But let's keep moving on, okay? So down. Batch flash loans. So what's this? In the past, if you wanted to do a flash loan, you wanted to borrow money from AAVE, you could only do one currency at a time. Now, in case you don't know exactly what a flash loan is, the same thing here, but a flash loan is when you borrow the money from a protocol, use the money to do something, and put the money back in to the protocol, all in one transaction. So it's all have to be written as a single code. If you can do this whole transaction as a single transaction, then you can do it without supplying any collateral. There is a small fee for that, and I don't know what it is on AAVE, but all the protocols have a small fee for being able to flash loan their liquidity. So they're there, they're here to stay, and they're quite useful. Okay. So debt tokenization is the next point. So to understand the purpose of debt tokenization, we need to understand the next point as well. So let's go into the next point, and I'll come back to debt tokenization. So basically what credit delegation means is I can put collateral into AAVE, and then now I have credit on AAVE that I could use to borrow, right? Now they've written a series of functions into the smart contract now that you could give this credit to another wallet. So it could be another one of your wallets, or it could be someone else's wallet if you want. You just have to tell it which wallet you want to give the credit to. Now the debt tokenization, where does that come from? Okay, so how it comes into play is if I supply liquidity, or I supply collateral to AAVE, so like maybe here, I supply this $100, and now I can borrow some money. Maybe, I don't know, let's even check. Say I wanted to borrow DAI. I could borrow $80 worth of DAI. I could send this credit, this ability to borrow $80 to another wallet, okay? Now, if I sent that to the other wallet, then when they actually borrow the DAI, then that token that signifies that this debt is now here will go back to the first wallet, the wallet that actually has deposited the USDC. Now, I hope that makes sense. So to try to read it again, let's go over to this here. I asked about this, and he said cold wallets deposit into AAVE receive 8 tokens. These are the tokens that you get when you deposit into AAVE, and they gain a small amount of interest, right? So that's basically the token I have for my USDC. It's an AAVE token, okay? The cold wallet calls this function inside the smart contract. Now there's all of this, okay? If you need to be able to run these functions in order to do this feature right now, but I'm assuming that they will eventually make a UI for this, make it a little more user friendly, and maybe they are just testing it live right now. Kind of, they've tested it probably, but they're probably just letting the people who understand Solidity do this first, and then after it's been proven and tested, then they will release a UI to the general public, right? So that's what he's talking about. So you can run this function and give that credit to another, what he's calling a hot wallet. No, so basically maybe you have a HODL wallet, and then you want to use this hot wallet for, yield farming or something with the credit, right? So the hot wallet can now borrow as needed. And when the hot wallet borrows, the debt tokens incurred by the cold wallet address. So the debt is sent to the first address, the address that actually holds the collateral. So now I'm not exactly sure why they need a token for this, but that's what they're doing. Okay. So this is one of the answers I got from the support group in the Discord. So I suggest you to go there and check that out as well. So moving on. So there's a bit of gas optimizations. They're trying to lower the cost of gas because many complex transactions cost more gas than simple ones. So they've tried to simplify things and streamline things. Now they also have a stable and variable rate borrowing, and that it says with AAVE version 2, borrows can have both stable and variable positions at the same time. So if I wanted to, I could maybe come in here, go to borrow, and you see there are two, right? There's a variable and a stable. Now remember, I have about $80 able to borrow, right? 79 right here, and all of these are 80. I could borrow, $40 at this rate and $40 at that rate. And, this is guaranteed to not change, and maybe this will fluctuate up and down. So you can spread it out. And, this is a mathematical, thing that you would have to figure out what works for you, okay? But this is a good feature. Instead, in the past, you'd have to choose one or the other, but now you can split it up. I'm not sure if it's 50-50 or not, but I'm pretty sure you can just split it up however you want. Like, I could just put 20 and continue and choose, right? And choose which one I wanted to do, okay? So moving on, decentralized access to V2. So there's a few other protocols out there, other websites or aggregators, so to speak. They interact with a whole bunch of protocols and they kind of put it all together in one place. Now this is version 2 I'm talking about. If you have debts in version 1, it says here that the migration tool will be introduced later. So if you have version 1s, no need to close them. So the version 1s should be migrated over to version 2 eventually, or you can do it manually now if you want. They talk about the security audits. There's a lot of audits going to be done. There's 4 already, and there's a 5th one, and they did one in Chinese so that they could try to build that market as well. Now this section here talks more about the different collateral types and the different percentages and stuff like this. If you have a specific token in here that you want to borrow or lend, you can come to this table and find out the details and help you to do the math and figure out what is the thing you want to do with that. Okay, so that pretty much covers the new version 2. I hope this has been helpful, and thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hello, thank you so much for watching, and if you'd like to support the channel, there are a few ways you can help me out a lot. Number one is I have a Gitcoin grant. This is a pretty unique way to help out. Basically, the way this system works is if you supply me with any kind of donation, then the protocol itself will also match your donation with like an increasing amount the more the people donate to me. So for example, if you were to give me 1 DAI, the protocol will give me 4 DAI, which is great, so your 1 DAI can go a long way. So please feel free to come here and check this out. Link to this will be in the description. Another way you could support me is by going to yGIFT, link in the description. And here, where this says collect for me, it would say tip. you tip this, and you could give me some YUSD if you want, and that would definitely help me out quite a bit. Another way you could support me is you could check out my Rarible store and purchase an NFT. Now, the best kind of support is just you watching my videos and liking them and subscribing. So if you did that, thanks so much for doing that, and goodbye.